One of the most bizarre and dangerous regions of post-apocalyptic Appalachia is the mire. Once a lush and vibrant forest teeming with humans, it is now a foggy, treacherous swamp where only the strongest of creatures can survive. Today, we stalk the swamp in search of one of the many cryptids of Appalachia, and perhaps even the most bizarre of them all, the Sheepsquatch. According to past eyewitness reports, the Sheepsquatch is a gargantuan 20-foot-tall monstrosity with large spiral horns and a jaw so powerful it is capable of biting through solid steel. Also, according to rumours, its fleece is not as white as snow, as you might suspect, and rather it is razor-sharp and almost entirely bulletproof. Perhaps most notoriously, though, are the rumours about its bodily waste. There are claims that the urine of the Sheepsquatch is highly acidic, so much so that it is able to burn the skin of its foes for days. Reportedly, there has been cases of even just one drop blinding an unfortunate hunter for life. We begin our search here in the upper northwest portion of the mire, in a split between another region of Appalachia, aptly named the Savage Divide, where we find our first traces of the creature in a small camp further downhill from a location called Toxic Larry's Meet and Go. Furthermore, here we discover a quite grim and unfortunate scene for two campers. Firstly, we spot a man impaled to his grisly demise by mysterious large quills, with two of the quills puncturing his chest and a third quill landing in his left eye. Moving along up the camp, we find his assumed counterpart, a woman who has also been punctured thrice and laid back against the picnic table in a most gruesome fashion. As day descends into night, after many hours of searching, we finally stumble across our quarry, sleeping, curled up in its nest, like a newborn lamb in its mother's womb. Perhaps exhausted from its day of hunting, noted by the nearby Brahmin corpses. Taking advantage of this situation, in its state of sleep, we can quietly move in further to inspect the creature at greater detail. In doing so, we can now see and confirm the aforementioned rumours of the creature, with its coarse fur. We can also see that its fur coat is lined with quills, somewhat like a hedgehog or porcupine. The very same quills, in fact, that ended the lives of the two ill-fated campers we discovered earlier. Furthermore, we can conclude that the coat and quills of the Sheepsquatch are indeed acidic in nature, perhaps soaked in its own urine, as evidenced by the flies swarming the creature's pungent backside, and further adding to the lethality that the quills are able to inflict when piercing its prey's flesh. Finally, we can see its massive horns, presumably used as yet another weapon when hunting down its prey. And now, as night becomes day once again, it is time for the creature to wake up in order to document its reaction, and take one final look upon it before our brave hunter ultimately engages it in combat. As the bullet is fired, the beast awakens. It lets out a truly guttural roar, indicating that it does not appreciate being woken up this early and perhaps needs more beauty sleep. I do, however, wonder if the Sheepsquatch counts sheep to fall asleep, or if it prefers to, perhaps, count Brahmin. I'm afraid we'll never truly know. Nevertheless, upon close final inspection, we can see it is quite physically disfigured, as well as also having a tag in its right ear, perhaps indicating that it may have once been a simple sheep that grew up on a farm, or perhaps in a lab. Whether or not its jaws can bite through solid steel, however, remains to be seen. But now it is time to watch the hunter quell the creature and best it in combat, while we observe any combat techniques. As combat begins, the Sheepsquatch initiates with yet another guttural screech, and quickly jumps up and pounds its hooves back down into the ground, causing all nearby opponents to take damage, while also slowing their ability to move. It then quickly pulls acidic quills from its back and hurls them at its prey, dealing damage over time, while then quickly switching to a quadrupedal position and spraying out even more quills in seemingly every direction, causing damage to any prey caught in the nearby vicinity. Eventually, after it sustains heavy damage, it lets out an enraged roar and begins to glow red. The creature, now enraged, follows up its roar with more of its previous attacks, which briefly knocks our hunter off the cliff. After climbing back up, the Sheepsquatch unleashes a devastating headbutt charge, which narrowly misses our hunter, followed by a ferocious backhand swipe, rattling our hunter's head, leaving him dazed. Ultimately, as the battle nears its close, the Sheepsquatch lets out one final roar before drawing its last breath and collapsing to the floor. With the battle now over, we look to its body in awe and wonder what next will we learn in hunting the cryptids of Appalachia, West Virginia.